What would you do if you missed the opportunity to buy stocks worth $1 million? Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for your continued support. Today's video is a classic example of opportunity cost. Life is all about making choices. Would you continue dwelling on missed opportunities, or would you keep working hard to achieve those dreams? Keep watching until the end to hear the rest of Marion's story.
They didn't have that post-stress disorder thing back then. I would fight at the drop of it. It wouldn't take much.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that a lot. You know, when you go from shooting at people and people shooting at you, and then you come back home in a civilian life that nobody knows anything about the other, and a person say the wrong thing, and you know, that I felt like I had to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was difficult to make the change, but Mary helped me a lot. I tried to be kinder to people and understand, you know, that they have problems too that they're dealing with, and I think I made some progress there. We had a lot of friends and good people around us. We were active in church and raised our children in the church. I had 4 variety stores owned by Sam Walton in northwest Arkansas, and I was living in Little Rock at the time. But every time I called on him, I had to ask him for money because he was always running behind on paying his bill. And I was there one day, and he said, "Hey, Marion, I want to show you something." So we got in his truck and drove downtown in a little northwest Arkansas town, Rogers, Arkansas. And there was a store there, and up on the top it had Walmart. He said, I want you to give him an order because we're going to buy our paint from him. And so I rode back to his store with him, and on the way back, he told me, he said, "I want you to buy some stock." He said, "We're selling 1,600 shares for $1,600. And I said, "Well, I'll go home and I want to talk to Mary, my wife." And we talked it over and decided against it because he was always running behind on his bill. People who bought that first issue of stock, if they held on to it, it'd been worth several $1 million, just that 1,600. But he stayed active with those variety stores he had, and finally Walmart, he kept opening those. But I dealt with him for a number of years in the start of Walmart, and never dreamed it would be the largest business in the world. Dad painted this in 1965, and that's one that I painted. The duck, which you have one of those. Mary, several years ago, told me that she would like for me to started taking notes about everything I could remember. Painted this picture. That's my aunt's barn out on their farm in Arkansas. Use that for the cover. And I go back as far, like that's my first grade teacher. And I've got that shown all the houses. We went back to those towns, and I took pictures of all the houses that we lived in. That's when I first met Mary, and I was at her house, and I have that picture in there on the table.
Oh, up front.
And this was in 1954.
Mm.
And that's one of my cars at her house. And that was, we got married. That was her picture. That was in the paper. That was a paint company, Mid-America Paint Company. That's just out of boot camp, Marine Corps. I graduated from college at 54. That's married after right before we got married. I kept talking to her about getting her one, and she finally started taking notes. And after she passed away, I decided I'd try to finish it. And I talked her into going to one of my art classes.
Yep.
And she'd never painted anything in her life, but that was a picture that was painted that day, and she did this, and she hid it, and I found it in some of her stuff, and I decided it'd make her mad, but I was going to use that for her cover. I didn't have the narrative, so this is more of a pictorial thing of her. Went to one of the dances that they had. I found the dress that she got married in. It's hanging in her closet now. Mm-hmm. Western Auto was, they had the automobile stores, and they sold auto parts and appliances. And she modeled for them in Dallas. And then Neiman Marcus was one of the world's largest and finest clothing stores. Mm-hmm. And she modeled for them. Some of the places, that's always been one of my favorites. That's the start of building this log cabin. That's the first thing to put the post in. And that's the way the house looked when it was finished. Had a beautiful stream that went down behind it. Grandkids that I tried to see that my children all had a nice place to live, which they did, and tried to teach them manners, and I guess Mary and I did a pretty good job, because out of the 4 kids, none of them ever had any problems. I grew up to be pretty good citizens. No, my parents never owned a home. Everything was a rental. And when we bought the farm outside of Little Rock, Mary and I decided to build them a home on the farm. And it was it's in foothills of the Ozarks, and it was a pretty high hill. You had visibility for several miles, but we built a nice home for them and gave it to them, and gave them the home and some acreage. And unfortunately, they didn't live a long time to enjoy it, but Mary and I mean, made us feel good to be able to do it. I think of my entire life, the most thing was being able to be married to Mary, and we had a great marriage. I had a great life.
Thank you for watching the video. So what's your thoughts? Please share in the comment section below, and make sure to like, share, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button. I'll be back soon with another inspiring story. Until then, be inspired and keep inspiring.